If you don't want your face in the recording, please feel free to turn your camera off. And we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, my name's Jenny. I'm the coordinator for the Metro Phoenix EcoFlora project. And we also, like I said, have Theo here with us from City of Chandler. And we're going to dig into the City Nature Challenge. Please mute yourselves during the presentation and we'll have an open discussion at the end. So what is the City Nature Challenge? The big question, right? In 2016, the CNC was created by the California Academy of Sciences and the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County. So the event started as this kind of friendly competition between the cities of Los Angeles and San Francisco, but it quickly grew into this international event, and I'll show you some stats on that in a minute. So this is a global effort now to observe and document as much urban biodiversity as possible while engaging folks in community science. So it's a really accessible event that a lot of people can get involved in, share observations from anywhere, from local parks to neighborhoods. So this is a 4-day annual global BioBlitz at the end of April. Cities are in a collaboration meets friendly competition to see not only what can be accomplished when we all work towards this common goal, but also which city can gather the most observations, find the most species, and engage the most people in the event. So there's that competition to it. For those of you unfamiliar with the BioBlitz, they're basically events that focus on finding, documenting, and identifying as many species as possible in a specific area over a short period of time. So here are some goals of the City Nature Challenge. Really, the big idea is to share observations and help empower the public while creating quality data for scientists working to better understand and protect nature. So we want people to connect with their local nature, especially in urban and metro areas, connect people to each other, build community in person, online, and around, again, local nature. So we want to collect urban biodiversity data that's open access and available for land managers and scientists to use, grow volunteer biodiversity documentation worldwide, build that community science, and have fun through friendly competition and just spend time outside. So every year there's a huge spike in data on iNaturalist with this event, and it's a really great way to get a lot of people who may otherwise not take the time to get out and make observations, to get them out there and really involved. It's a great way to get people hooked on community science. So here's a history of the CNC. So in 2016, like I said, it was just San Francisco versus LA, and you can see it's grown exponentially every year. Last year, there are about 419 cities around the world, and there are over 1 million observations made. So lots and lots of observations and data that this collects. So this is a map of all the cities that participated last year. Like I said, that was over 400. I'm not sure what we're up to just yet. I don't know if they've put out the final list, but it's getting up there. So the event happens globally through the collaboration of locally organized projects and efforts. So the 2022 City Nature Challenge is being co-organized locally by Metro Phoenix EcoFlora, Educating Children Outdoors, Chandler Community Services, and Barrett, the Honors College at ASU. So this is the second year that the Greater Phoenix area will be a part of the International Challenge. And last year was the first year we participated, and we actually placed 30th in the entire world with over 9,000 observations. So we were really excited about those results. It was really cool, especially for our first year. So we're really excited about those results and hope to beat our own numbers this year. So we're kind of in competition with ourselves. It's an important event for our area, especially to highlight the amazing biodiversity we have in the Sonoran Desert and here in the Valley. You know, again, a lot of people think desert, oh, there's nothing here, but we like to show that amazing biodiversity that we have. So being a co-organizer is quite the process, and it takes a lot of time and energy. We've been attending both global and local meetings, making those requirements and organizing this event for our area since September or October of last year. So this is our boundary. This is what we mean when we say Greater Phoenix area. This is where anyone can participate in the Greater Phoenix CNC. Excuse me. So anywhere within this boundary, your observations will count. And once you've joined the project, they're automatically included. So you don't have to add an observation every single time. So like I said, this includes urban areas just as well as parks and natural areas. So if for some reason you're not sure about where you want to make observations or having them included, you can zoom in and explore this map on our iNaturalist project page, which I'll include the link to here in a few minutes. So this is an example of some of the collaborators we had last year. I'm really also very excited about the amount of people that we had that wanted to collaborate. What collaborators do, these are groups and organizations who aren't official organizers, but they still want to promote and participate. So collaborators promote the challenge, they can host events and really just get the word out there about the challenge and get people involved. So that's all that we require. And we put all collaborator logos on our website and our project page and try to promote you in that way. So how does the challenge actually work? Well, people look for plants, animals, insects, any organism in the Metro Phoenix area and document them with a web-based platform and app called iNaturalist. Is anybody familiar with iNaturalist? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, cool. So as you know, it's a digital field guide and notebook that lets you record observations. The photos you upload are coupled with location, date, and species data to create an observation. It's a really cool technology that uses image recognition and GIS to help identify what's being observed. There's also a really nice community aspect to iNaturalist, more so through the website, and other users from around the globe can weigh in and help confirm identifications and provide more information about species. So to join the CNC, just download the iNaturalist app or website on your phone, tablet, or device, and create an account using an email address and make up an iNaturalist username and password. So then you can search for the City Nature Challenge 2022 Greater Phoenix area and join. And once you've joined, like I said, all your observations count automatically. And then the next step is just to go outside and have fun and make observations. Even if you don't have a cell phone, that's not a problem. You can take photos with a camera and then upload them to your computer and use the iNaturalist website. So I'll show you really quickly what that looks like. Over here on the left is through an iPhone. This is updated now. iNaturalist did have an app update, and that bottom right corner is now projects. You can just click right there and it'll take you to projects. You can type in Greater Phoenix CNC and then you click join. And this is what it looks like in the Android app. If this is a little outdated, forgive me. I don't have an Android phone. But same thing, you're gonna push this little hamburger up here and that'll open up and you can search for projects. So on the website, it looks like this. Once you type in the search bar up here and find the project, that join button is going to be right up here. And once you've done that, like I said, automatically included. So we do have 2 iNaturalist trainings coming up in March, and I'll put the link for our newsletter sign up. So if you want to stay in the loop about when we've got those ready, that will be there for you. There's different ways to observe. There's a lot of creative things that you can do and that you can encourage people to do. So you can explore, like I said, your neighborhood, local natural areas. You can set up a light at night to do moth lighting and see what you find that way. Lots of bugs come out at night. It might be a little too cool. We'll see how the weather is in April. But there's even an EcoFlora project member, who uploads screenshots of bat sounds. It's really cool. So they have a device that they can actually record and then they'll post those sounds to iNaturalist. So a fun way to engage kids is with a hula hoop, like you see in the top right here. You can put a hula hoop on the ground and have them observe everything that they can find within that hula hoop circle, or look for all things of one color, like red bugs or flowers and things like that. So plants are often the easiest thing to observe because they're stationary and kind of all over the place. But while you're observing plants, take a moment to see what kind of organisms might be visiting that plant. This can also up your observation numbers. So when you're making those observations, look around, see what else you can find. So we do provide observers with guidelines for making observations. These are great things to keep in mind and suggest to people. We want quality photos, right? If we have one blurry picture of an animal, that's not really going to help us identify it or see what it is. So we need good quality photos. Be sure it's in focus with decent lighting. You can crop in on photos to show what's being observed. So if you have a picture of, a bird on a power line, you can kind of crop in on that to help see a little bit better instead of uploading that whole thing. So you want to also create a sense of scale. You can place something in the photo like a hand or a pencil. This is especially important for flowers and plants. Sometimes size is a really good determining factor of what species it is. And take multiple photos. Again, with plants, you want to take the overall plant, the leaves, the flowers, any kind of details that you can include in there. We also encourage people to take a hand lens with them, and you can do macro shots with your cell phone, or buying those little close-up lenses for cell phones. They're like maybe $15, not that expensive and very accessible. And again, we want to capture as many details and separate observations. So like you see in the top left here, if you have an insect on a flower, make sure you're uploading an observation for both. So upload one for the flower, one for the insect. There are observation fields where you can do that as one observation, but it's a little bit more technical and not as accessible for folks to learn. So safety is a big one out here, especially as we get closer to April, May. The challenge is at the end of April, so we want to make sure we're hydrated. We had problems with phones overheating last year. It was a really warm weekend, so make sure you have a hat, snacks, first aid kit, appropriate clothing, footwear. Be alert. I know we don't have black bears here in the valley, but don't be like these people in the middle slide and get too close to wildlife. And also, of course, we have rattlesnakes here. And cactus are a big one. So try not to get too close to those either. And be considerate. Try not to take away from others' experience. You know, we want to be mindful of blocking pathways if you're on a sidewalk looking at things, or creating noise in quiet areas. And just generally, like I said, respect wildlife. So we have the timeline. So April 29th through May 2nd is the observation window. We want to make as many observations as possible. And then May 3rd through May 8th, we're going to identify those. And last year we did have events where we had people identify stuff with us. So we did a virtual one, tried to do an in-person one, but didn't have anybody register. So we're going to try that again this year. So we'll identify things together, and we can actually learn and help each other identify things. And then the results are announced on May 9th, the big drum roll moment. So we also have a Southwest competition. So our neighbors in Tucson and Albuquerque are also participating, and we're kind of in a friendly competition. We did it last year. We're also thinking about including Chihuahua, which will be really interesting, and possibly El Paso. And we get bragging rights, of course, if we win, but we're super supportive of one another. We're both interested in the same goals. Last year we came in second, which was super exciting again for our first year. So Albuquerque's been doing this for years. So we're like, yes, like we're really excited about that. So we'll be sharing the events and things that we've got planned. Also for the greater Phoenix area, we do prizes. So the person that has the most observations, the most species, and the top identifier all get a prize package, and it's different stuff. So we've got sunglasses and pens, but we've also got tickets to Desert Botanical Garden and things like that. So we need your help if you'd like to become a collaborator. Again, all that's required is promoting the event through your channels, put it on your social media feed, out in your newsletters, host events if you're able to and want to. And again, what we do is try to promote you where we can. We provide resources for you. We have an entire Google folder with social media posts, images, text. We already have the copy made for you to use. We've got flyers and lots of good stuff in there. So like we mentioned, that's basically all that's required for collaborators. And if you're interested, I'm going to place a link in the chat. And that is a link to our form for interested collaborators. And once we get that information from you, we send you the link to that resource folder. And that's pretty much it. So thank you so much again for being here today and being interested about the City Nature Challenge. I'm going to put a link also to our website. We have a local Greater Phoenix website that we run for the CNC. So I'll put a link to that, and you can find video tutorials, stuff that we had done from last year, and kind of get more of an idea of how this works. I think that link was broken, I just sent. Let's try this one. And this is our Greater Phoenix area project on iNaturalist. So that's pretty much it. Anyone that has questions, please feel free to unmute yourselves and we'll do our best to answer.
I have a question. Can you make observations in your own backyard?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
the one thing that we like to tell people, when you make an observation, there's geoprivacy is what it's labeled. So a lot of people don't want people to know where they live, but they do want to make observations, and they can set that to obscured. So instead of having those coordinates open to everyone, it basically places the observation in a random 2-kilometer square near where it was observed. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. So that's on the application, I mean, on the app when you're doing it?
Yeah, if you upload through the app or on the website, it'll give you that option to choose your geoprivacy. We don't recommend people doing completely private because then no one can ever see where it came from unless that person gives permission. So we just say, hey, if you don't want, you want to make observations in your yard, but don't want people to know where you live, just choose obscured.
Okay. And I'd like to put this in my Central Arizona Cactus and Succulent Society newsletter for April.
Yeah.
So the link's going to be, where would I get all that social information to share?
I think Chris already signed you all up.
Oh, he did, I know. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and send you that direct link to our resource folder.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah. Will you do me a favor if you don't mind? You can private message me if you want. Will you put your email in the chat?
I think so. So I just do chat.
Yeah.
And
then there's a little drop down. If you want it to just go to me, you can choose where it says
here.
Does anybody else have questions while we're working on that?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
Since I am with the McDowell's Sonoran Preserve, when I do my observation, it goes in there. So I should make sure that when I do for the CNC, I should join your group and then start doing the observation.
Yeah, and joining the project, you'll stay up to date. We're going to do journal posts. So by joining, you'll get those notifications when we post in the journal and all that kind of stuff. Your observations will be included. We do have it set so that any and every observation that's made in that window counts. But we really encourage people to join because it helps us keep track of, who's participating, and, you get all the updates and information.
Okay, so I don't have to switch back and forth.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep. Cricket, I'll go ahead and send that to you here in a minute when we finish up.
That'd be great.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Just, you said it's all plants and organisms?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Some people actually will upload scat and signs.
Oh.
Do that too. Yeah, some people upload tracks, which is really interesting.
Huh.
So yeah, we encourage. What's that?
I was going to say, I just saw a program on PBS about this guy that examines scat of animals the other night, which was kind of interesting.
Was it local or?
No, this guy was in Australia. And the main thing was about wombats, that they have square.
Yeah,
which is really, and so they were trying to figure out why it was square, and it's the only animal in the world that has square scat.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting that they figured out it's intestines, the way it
really
squeezes it out, and that it's so dry. It was weird.
I had never heard the results. I hadn't heard where they had figured it out. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Animal fun facts.
Yeah.
I do know too, for the nature challenge, you can upload bones, which we found coyote bones in our parks. We've uploaded those and those count. And there are groups that do bone specific ones, and sometimes they'll add it to their group as well. As well as just deceased animals. So if there's we found a dead rat in the park, so we would categorize that, but just put deceased in it. So.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. So like I said, we're going to have iNaturalist trainings coming up in March, and we'll kind of get more into that deeper stuff that you can do with iNaturalist, kind of like the geoprivacy, and like Theo was saying, marking things as deceased, or you can even note phenology. So you can note if something's blooming or if it's budding, things like that.
You do vegetable gardens too? Is that included, or do you want more of a natural thing?
They will be, but we're looking for more wild.
Okay.
And there's a big debate between cultivated and wild.
Okay.
But I usually advise people that if something is long term, like if we have a tree that's been growing downtown for 50 years, it makes sense to me that we should observe that because it's been contributing ecosystem services for 50 years.
Okay.
But if it's annual bed plantings like pansies in front of a building, we don't want to do that because we know they're getting torn out, next couple of months.
Okay. Because I have a mixture of cactus, succulents, vegetables, flowers, all kinds of stuff in my backyard. So
yeah, which that's cool too, to know what people are growing. And that's something that I look at for the bigger ecoflora project, is kind of what species are here and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of the more thinking long term. And for animals, we don't tell people like, don't go to the zoo and observe the tigers, make sure they're wild. But
Yeah,
that's something else. We'll be working on guidelines. Theo is actually helping out and working on some guidelines for us to have like a short and sweet PDF for people to use.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. No problem. And the last link that I put in the chat is for our newsletter sign up. So if you want to stay in the loop, you can sign up for that, and we'll send out notices for the events and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, of course.
Have a good evening.
You
Great,
too.
thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.